In a world of endless fandoms, one podcast dares to cover them all. Welcome to Between Two Batcaves, your go-to HQ for everything from comics to the screen and all the IP in between.
All right, hello and thanks for hanging with us today on this episode of Between Two Batcaves. We are your hosts. I am Austin Luke and he is Jordan Brownstein. And today we are talking about House of the Dragon episodes 5 and 6. We skipped a week, but that's okay. We are back to talk about House of the Dragon. We had to cover a little movie called The Odyssey. I don't know if y'all have heard of
Never heard of it,
but we had to take a week to talk about that. So we're doing a double House of the Dragon ep today. So stay tuned for that. Again, more from Jordan on all that. In the meantime, we have a jam-packed Oracle report as well. Before we can get into everything today, a few things right off the bat here. If you like what we're doing over here on Between Two Batcaves, you gotta let us know. Few ways you can do so. Whether this is your first or 67th episode with us.
Shout out Corey Bullock.
I wonder when we are going to really cash in on the niche market of Baltimore and comic book fans. Like, it hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Dozens of us.
But it will. I'm excited for that moment.
There are dozens.
Anyway, whether it's your first or 67th episode with us, please let us know how we're doing over on Between Two Batcaves. Few ways you can do so. First, you can follow the pod on the podcast platform of your choice. Next, you can leave a 5-star rating and review on that podcast platform. And lastly, you can share the show with a friend. Those 3 little things go a long way to help us grow. Socials, we are everywhere at Between Two Batcaves with the number 2. That's everywhere except for Twitter. You guys know that we don't know why, so stop asking us. Literally not a single person has asked us yet, but I'm convinced that they're really concerned about why we don't have that.
I know you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about it.
Stop thinking about it. And then lastly, if you are watching Between Two Batcaves on either YouTube or Spotify, first of all, thank you so much. And click all the buttons you got to click over there. You know, on Spotify, it's just comment, like, follow the pod. But on YouTube, you got like, you got subscribe, you got ring the bell. Just, you know, stay up to date with the latest from Jordan and I. That is everything I have to plug, I believe. Jordan, I'm going to hand it over to you so we can keep breezing through this intro and get into what we want to talk about today.
Smooth. Really smooth. Well, as you mentioned, we are back today to talk about House of the Dragon. Had to take a step out of Westeros and into ancient Greece last week to cover Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, so definitely go check that out if you have seen that movie and haven't had a chance to check out our review there. We also had a chance to do a little bit of a live reaction to the Avengers Doomsday trailer, which may or may not be getting outdated by another trailer here kind of soon. We'll talk about that. We are here today to talk about House of the Dragon Season 3 episodes 5 and mostly 6, after first talking about everything that went down at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, where Marvel reigned supreme. We're going to get into all of that today. Next week is a big one. Next week is a big one, my friend.
That it is.
It's one that we've been talking about since the inception of this podcast, more than a year ago now, because Spider-Man Brand New Day is officially coming out in theaters this week. Austin, you and I are going to see this at 3:30 p.m. on a Thursday, like really harkening back to the olden days, getting there as soon as humanly possible on opening weekend. Yeah. So we're catching this movie as soon as we possibly can, and dude, I'm super excited. We're going to come back here after we see the movie to record our review and get it out there for you guys. Hopefully, you know, as soon as we can to, you know, have that be something that you can listen to after you walk out of the theater seeing the movie this weekend. We are also, we're sticking to it. I think we're going to stick to it with our House of the Dragon coverage. It might be a little bit off schedule. I'm going to be traveling this coming weekend, but we're going to be here. We only got 2 more episodes of this season of House of the Dragon, I believe, after this past Sunday's episode. So we will be breaking down those final 2 episodes. Austin, am I missing anything here?
Not missing anything. I just want to add a couple little side dishes there on things.
What a diplomatic response.
to see, thank you, to see just what they should expect on the feed here. Obviously, this episode is coming out. Watch this episode, and then you should be coming back to the YouTube feed where you will see a designated San Diego Comic-Con breakdown video. What I will be doing is I will be pulling out our Oracle report from this video and making a separate video just for anybody who might just want to listen to San Diego Comic-Con news from us. Just going to do a short form video from that. It's not going to be anything additional. It's just going to be this conversation that we have, but it will be on the feed. So go show that video some love too. As you mentioned, this week we will have those two things uploaded on the YouTube channel, on the podcast page as well as our Spider-Man review, which I hope to be getting out by Friday. So be on the lookout for that. So 3 videos hitting the feed this week, guys. That's a lot.
Hey, let's all say thank you to our humble editor over there and sitting in your Batcave. You're putting out a lot of really quality work, sir. And it is not going unnoticed.
Thank you.
So check out everything that Austin's been doing in the editing room on our latest episodes and shorts and everything, because you've been flexing your muscles.
I've been working on it. Thank you. So yeah, guys, go check out that San Diego Comic-Con video. I know that if you're here, you've already been listening and watching and heard it. I don't care. Go listen to it again. Anyway, I think that is everything. One last thing we got to shout out. We're still doing our YouTube challenge. We are on the hunt for 100 subscribers. We are currently sitting at 90 subscribers on YouTube. When we get to 100 subscribers, that hat that Jordan is holding up right there, that wonderful, beautiful hat,
goes on your head.
Goes on your head. Well, yeah. I mean, you can really put it wherever you want to. We don't want to tell you how to live your life, but we wear them on our heads.
Very true.
Anyway, 100 subscribers, we will be giving one lucky subscriber a Between Two Batcaves hat. So all you got to do is you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you got to go comment on either our House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 4 review or our Avengers Doomsday trailer review to enter into that giveaway. That is all I have. Yeah. Just double checking. Yep, nope, it's time. It's time to fire up the Oracle report.
Let's fire her up. We got to cross the country this week to do that, though. We got to head over to San Diego.
So, obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably aware that San Diego Comic-Con has occurred and concluded. We got some news to cover, Jordan. So, I want to ask you, do you want to start big, go small, or start small, go big?
Start small, go big.
Okay, so we're looking at the same outline here, right? The one I sent over?
Yep.
Okay, so I want to start with a quick talk about Avatar Studios. We got a look here at San Diego Comic-Con 2026 for the trailer for Avatar 7 Havens, which is apparently coming out in October of this year. Super cool. I didn't think
all
that
episodes,
show...
right?
Yeah, all episodes on Paramount Plus. I did not expect this show to be coming out so soon. That was a surprise to me. Really cool. I saw the trailer, saw some footage, saw some pictures, clips, all that stuff. And it's a different vibe for sure to an Avatar project. But I'm looking forward to it. I really just love getting into like the world and the lore behind everything that Avatar created back into the 2000s for us. And I will say, I've been excited about this for a little bit, but a big reason why I am excited for this right now, is a movie that we have both recently watched. We have watched Avatar Legend of Aang. The movie that recently came out on Paramount Plus. There's a whole backstory to like the release schedule, leaks, all that stuff. We've talked about it on the channel before. I don't think we need to revisit that. You want to just visit this movie for a second and give some thoughts on Seven Haven?
Yeah, I can do at least like the first hour or so of Legend of Aang, because that's what I have seen so far. But of that hour that I've seen, I've really enjoyed it, dude. Like, it was just kind of, I mean, just the experience of being back with these characters who were like, when we were watching them on TV, they were our age and they have kind of aged with us. So to kind of revisit them at the point in the lives that they're at, that kind of, you can see a lot of parallels between where they're at in a lot of ways and where we're at in our lives. Just that, not even speaking to the quality of the movie itself, which I have a lot of really good things to say about the movie itself. But it was just really, it felt very emotional to kind of be back in the, like with the gang, like with Aang's gang and seeing where they're at.
I'm with you 100%. I'll put it this way. So I turned this movie on the other day, and as I was going to turn it on, I also opened up my laptop to do some editing. And, you know, intro credits were rolling, all that stuff. I was started looking at, you know, the editing dashboard, seeing what I was going to do. And then I heard it. I heard the da na 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 na, and I was like,
Brings you right back.
oh, hold on, wait a minute. I closed the laptop and I locked in, dude. I locked in, and I'm so glad I did. It was Legend of Aang is a story that I feel like I've seen before. The story beats are pretty similar to certain arcs that you get in Legend of Korra. I'm not going to beat around.
Did you finish the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So I won't spoiler. I won't spoil the ending for you. But the beats in the movie are pretty similar to some plot points that we get during Legend of Korra. You know, you get an airbender that turns out to be a bad guy. You get some cool like spirit realm sequences and channeling the power of the spirit realm to give bending powers back, and it's things that we have seen before in the Avatar world. But give me more is what I'm saying here. I mean, it is, the animation style of this movie was very different from the original cartoon on Nickelodeon, and the way that they presented the characters and like the evolution of the characters, as you mentioned, like the way that they grow with us, the way that they showed those relationships developing, it straight up, they just like played on some nostalgic beats pretty heavily. I mean, you get some pulls from the original cartoon that are just, it's the Leo pointing me. You're like, you know? And
it was I don't care. Cabbage guy.
I don't care.
My cabbages guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, give me more of it, dude.
It was just a visual cue. Yeah.
I really like this movie. And if Avatar Studios wants to give us more of these stories featuring Aang and the gang, I'm game. Disappointing that this didn't get a theatrical release. As I was watching it, I was like, man, this would be pretty freaking sweet in the theater. But again, we're not going to dive into all that again. So next project coming from Avatar Studios is Seven Havens. I'm looking forward to watching that after watching this.
I am looking forward to finishing this movie, which I might do tonight.
You should. It again, solid all around. I quite enjoyed start to end.
I did not stop watching it for reasons related to the movie, just to be clear.
Yes. We did clarify that.
All right. You want to talk about some of the stuff we got from DC before then spending the rest of our time in the Oracle Report and Hall H with Kevin Feige?
Indeed I do. So kick us off with where you want to start with DC. We got a couple things to talk about here.
Let's hit quick on the comics here, because there was a heavy DC Comics presence at San Diego Comic-Con.
Very.
They had an Absolute Universe panel, which kind of just following along on social media with some of like the character designs that they revealed, some hints at some storylines that we're going to be getting going forward. We got the announcement that on Batman Day this year, September 19th, DC is going to be releasing a special one-shot that is basically a crossover issue between the mainline Batman being written by Matt Fraction and Absolute Batman being written by Scott Snyder. They're doing like a crossover one-shot, which I'm very excited to pick up in September. And most importantly to me on the comics front here, a writer-artist team that I am really, like in the last year or so, have gotten like really into Denise Camp and Javier Rodriguez, who just finished up their run on Absolute Martian Manhunter, which was probably my favorite comic of the last year or so. They are moving over to Shadow of the Bat, a new limited Batman series that they're going to be working on that is like mainline in the universe. So theoretically, it's the same Batman that Matt Fraction is writing, just like in a different story that is seemingly going to tackle a lot of like the systemic political cultural issues that this duo has tackled on a lot of their recent runs. Martian Manhunter, they wrote on the Ultimates. So really excited to see them kind of take their sensibilities with the writing and Javier Rodriguez's art, which I think he's like best in the game right now, ported over into a Batman book is very exciting.
Yeah, I did not get deep in. As you know, I'm behind on the Absolute Universe stuff. I fell behind on that, so I'm catching up right now on Absolute Batman. I've read a couple issues of the Absolute Martian Manhunter stuff, and just from what I've seen from that book, absolutely like mind-boggling, like artwork and writing in that story. So to get that team over on a Batman comic, I think is super cool. The Absolute Universe things that we got. We got like a look at like Absolute Cheetah, which was just gruesome,
haunting. Did you see how that the character design for Cheetah has Barbara Minerva's face like morphed and stretched into the back of its head and neck?
Oh, I saw it. Yeah,
haunting stuff.
Yep,
I love it.
Oh, dude, it was so cool.
I gotta get back in on Absolute Wonder Woman. Yeah,
you mentioned that Marvel took the day for Comic-Con, and that's definitely true. However, DC definitely took it for comics on the comic side of thing. DC won Comic-Con for comics and comic books, so love that when we're getting some killer stuff out of DC Comics, which right now they are killing the game in multiple different stories. But that's not the only thing that DC came to play with at San Diego Comic-Con. We got the trailer for Lanterns.
Final trailer, I think.
Probably
trailer with that show coming in
I would
like
assume
3 weeks.
Yep, the final trailer for Lanterns. And dude, it was awesome. Boy, we might have something great on our hands with this show.
Any doubts that I had about this show, of which I had very few, let's be clear. But there was some weirdness with the marketing and the trailers up until this trailer dropped at Comic-Con that would just like giving me like a weird vibe about the show, like were they maybe going to lean away too much from the lanterning aspect of things, like we talked about, like show us the constructs, which I think they made progress with in the trailer before this one that dropped. But this latest trailer really showed us how much like how faithful they are being to the Lanterns lore.
Yes.
How much of that they are going to be giving us, and quite frankly just like more of the story that this show is going to be telling. And like completely reaffirmed in my confidence of the creative team, like behind the screen. The Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart dynamic has never looked like more compelling than it does in this trailer. We're getting more and more hints into why they are kind of at odds with each other and the different people in Hal's corner as opposed to John's corner, which we should get into. And man, I mean, it just like, it looks great. It looks so good. We got so much more of the Green Lantern's lanterning, more constructs. We got the frickin' oath to close the trailer out, and they recited it together on stage at Comic-Con, which was such a cool clip.
Which I would just like to point out, Ryan Reynolds was at the con. They should have had him go over for it, dude.
He was undercover at that point. He was undercover at that point. I don't think anybody
I'm just saying, the dude loves a joke. I think it would have been perfect.
If they just had Gene Pool in the in the crowd.
That would have been awesome.
We'll get more into Gene Pool in a minute, but yes, all that just to say, like my excitement for Lanterns went up significantly after this weekend.
Oh, dude, I agree completely. A couple things you mentioned on here, constructs. We get to see John create a construct. And what I liked about this was he created the construct, and Hal didn't know, like, it's almost like he didn't know that you could do that. You know what I mean? Like the way he reacted, because like he created the construct because he was telling him to fly, and then John was going to try to fly, and then he willed a bird into existence with his construct. And Hal was like, what is that? And now, was that like a what is that from a you just made a bird perspective, or like a whoa, what did you just do? How did you interpret
That's
that?
interesting. I honestly, I didn't have, like, I didn't know, I don't know if I read it like that. I think I just saw it more as Hal kind of being like, why is your mind creating a construct in that way when you're trying to fly as opposed to just flying? Not so much like how are you capable of doing that, but now that you mention that, it does seem to play into the theme that we have here of John being the replacement for Hal, being the better, like, younger, more improved version of Hal,
right?
And how threatened Hal is about that. So if, like, I think there's a lot of legitimacy to how you read that moment.
I again, I could be totally off, but that's just how I took it.
Yeah.
There is a really cool, oh man, I can't remember the name of the movie now, but there's an animated project. I watched it kind of recently. It's a Green Lantern project, and it kind of tells like the story of like the first lanterns and how the first constructs came to be. And it'll just be interesting if we kind of get like a reinterpretation of that, of the lanterns have been operating under, like, to this point without like using constructs, and like John is like the one who introduces like using willpower to make constructs. Because in this trailer we get the reveal too that the Manhunters are going to be the primary villain of this season, which in terms of like lantern lore is kind of a deep pull.
Tell me, give me the lore dump, because honestly, when I first saw the trailer and got the Manhunters mention, my first thought was Martian Manhunter, which these are two
Totally
different
fair.
things. So explain to me, and like anybody else who doesn't know who the Manhunters are, like who are they and what is their relation to the Lanterns lore?
Well, actually, the thing is, I don't think you're wrong at all for thinking about Martian Manhunter or the Martian Manhunters. I think that it could actually go either way. I think that maybe it's intentionally ambiguous at this moment, because Manhunters, in terms of Lantern lore, is referring to the Guardians' first attempt at the Lantern Corps. The Manhunters were the first version of the space cops that the Green Lanterns have, come to be known as. The Manhunters were a failed attempt by the Guardians. I don't want to get too deep into like spoiler territory potentially there for things that could be shown in the show. Yeah.
Can they shapeshift in the comics like they're shown to be able to do here in the show? Because that's very specifically a Martian Manhunter trait.
So that's what I'm trying to get to here, because I think it could go either way. It's weird that they're using the term Manhunters, because the Manhunters traditionally don't shapeshift. Martian Manhunter does shapeshift. The Martians have the ability to shapeshift. So I think that here's the thing. I think they're trying to invoke this conversation out of us.
Well, we're having it. So good job, DC. Good job, Lanterns.
So I mean, it could be a Manhunter,
really interesting, yeah,
or it could be like a Martian invasion. I don't know, dude, and I like the fact that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, all we really do know is that this is like exactly what they said. It's going to be a galactic spanning murder mystery that happens in like small town America, which seems like they're threading that needle based off this trailer, and I'm super excited to see who exactly the Manhunters are here and like what implication they have for the DCU on a larger scale. It'd be really interesting to see.
I agree.
Dude, in addition to the Manhunters, we get Sinestro in this trailer.
Yeah, we do.
Is revealed to have been Hal's old mentor, who I think is like after trying to like launch a rebellion or revolution of some sense, he gets ousted and imprisoned. And we see Hal visiting him in prison at some point in this trailer. And there is some kind of fear that the Guardians have that Hal might be following in his old mentor's footsteps. And we don't really get it in the trailer, but obviously the implication is like John being there has some kind of tie to whatever happened between Hal and Sinestro and what is happening with them going forward. Sinestro thoughts?
I mean, just outside of what you said, that's what I was gonna say. He just looks freaking cool, dude. I mean, just like so we get to see Sinestro kind of in a jail cell, just wearing a jail garb, all that stuff. My question for you is: do you think that at some point this season we will see the yellow suit Sinestro? Do you think that we're going to get to see the yellow ring?
It seems like, and I can't think of anything specific to point to, but in watching a lot of clips of the creative team doing interviews like at Comic-Con and after their panel and everything, they are heavily implying that the yellow power rings may play a role, or at least like the color yellow and Sinestro's relation to the color yellow is going to have a role to play in this story.
Yep, I do. I think that I don't know if we're getting Parallax, but I think we're getting a yellow ring.
Dude, I have like a vague understanding of who Parallax is and what Parallax is. But again, for my benefit and for anybody's benefit who doesn't know who Parallax is, what he is, quick 30-second elevator pitch.
A cosmic entity that feeds on fear. That's the elevator pitch. Basically, those who serve Parallax under the Lantern's Corps, they are corrupted to wield fear instead of willpower, and that turns their rings yellow. It corrupts the rings, and they channel the fear in people to basically do the same things that the Lantern Corps do, just yellow. And they do that to serve their master, who is Parallax, who, again, just imagine big space god feeds on fear.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a pretty significant comics run that involves Hal Jordan becoming Parallax, right?
There is.
Do you see any seeds to that here?
No.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that. Do you have any other thoughts on the Lanterns trailer here?
Dude, we got some good TV coming up. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to be
super
locked in on this show, covering it on the pod, needless to say.
I am very excited to see Laura Linney on this show. She is playing some kind of member of the Guardians of the Universe that is like a mentor figure for John. We see her in this trailer for the first time. Obviously, like Ozark mainstay, Chris Mundy is the showrunner, did Ozark, so I like seeing her here. I think she'll be fun. All right, that'll wrap our discussion on Lanterns until we have more to say about Lanterns.
Which will be soon.
It will be very soon. It will be.
But
we have some exciting stuff planned, but tentatively planned, I would say, for Lanterns. I think will happen.
Yeah, but we got to get into we're 30 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about the big one of San Diego Comic-Con. We got to talk about what Marvel did here, dude. Marvel had Hall H this year. Their return to Hall H. They weren't there last year. They were there in 2024 when we got the Doom reveal, the Robert Downey Doom reveal. Couple big takeaways from this Hall H panel. Obviously, where do you actually no? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you. We're going to start with the biggest story, but I want to ask you, what do you think was the biggest story from the Marvel Hall H this year?
Everything that we got from Black Panther 3.
Black Panther 3? Okay.
Black Panther 3 announcement.
Let's start with that.
All right. Do you want to lead? Or do you want me to?
This is your big takeaway.
All right. Black Panther 3 is coming to theaters in December 2028. Directed by Ryan Coogler, being shot on large format film. And T'Challa Jr., who we were introduced to in Wakanda Forever as a young kid, is going to be aged up and played by David Johnson in Black Panther 3.
Yeah.
David Johnson, who you might know from Alien Romulus. You might know him from Industry. I personally know him most from The Long Walk, which was one of my favorite movies of last year. For anybody who has been with us since last summer, you guys might remember, like, this was a movie that I was so moved by that I was like compelled to like sit in my car and post a reel on Instagram on our page talking about the movie. And like the reason that this movie was so good, at least like 50% of it, was David Johnson's performance. He was one of the leads in the movie, the co-lead with Cooper Hoffman, who was also incredible and also rumored for some MCU roles. But this is a character, or I'm sorry, this is an actor who I think is just like incredibly well suited to take up this mantle. Confirmed to be the new Black Panther. That's just how he was introduced by Coogler on stage. And Ryan Coogler and Feige have talked about how they came to cast David Johnson in this role. And it was literally Ryan Coogler seeing his performance in The Long Walk, being moved by it, having a meeting with David Johnson, and knowing like in his bones that he was the next Black Panther. And Ryan Coogler called him while he was called Kevin Feige while Coogler was working on Sinners, and was like, "This is our next Black Panther." And Feige said, "Okay." And dude, I think this is paired with the other movie announcement and actor announcement from Comic-Con. Marvel is building back up its star power in a major way going forward here with David Johnson and the next edition that we'll talk about.
Absolutely. I actually have no experience with David Johnson. I have not seen any of the projects that you mentioned that he starred in. But your glowing reviews from The Long Walk definitely has me excited for him in this role. And just what I have seen from him discussing the role and being involved in the MCU from this announcement, I have found very compelling for this actor to be involved with this project. And in a trilogy, in a franchise, the Black Panther trilogy, which kind of is in a league of its own in the MCU. I mean, the Black Panther franchise is one of those ones that stands out, I think, in the MCU as, I don't want to say this negatively, and it's going to come across that way, but you understand what I'm saying here, as more serious. It is almost, at
That's
least
not where I thought you were going with it. I thought you were thinking more along the lines of like how James Gunn's Guardians movies are very much James Gunn's movies. The Black Panther movies are very much Ryan Coogler's movies.
That's totally true.
Maybe they're tied together. Like,
well, and maybe I'm thinking that too now because of the prestige that comes with Ryan Coogler, which I mean cannot be ignored. I mean, you now have Ryan Coogler and the accolades along with him coming back to the MCU to be a part of this project, and that's nothing to scoff at. So you have a very talented team behind this movie. I am curious. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
David Johnson, I looked this up. He's 32 years old, I believe. Mm-hmm. Last time we saw T'Challa Jr., he was about 10.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen here? Do you think that this is going to be T'Challa from a different universe? Do you think that this is going to be set in the future? Like, what's your take on that?
So Feige has talked about how they're going to use Secret Wars as like the soft reboot that we know it's going to be. They're going to be able to pick and choose what they want from the old to bring over post Secret Wars, what they want to change. I just think like one of those changes is going to be that T'Challa Jr. is older. Whether that's whether that's a different version of T'Challa Jr. that we meet in Secret Wars, I think could be interesting if we get the introduction to David Johnson's version of the character in Secret Wars. I think that could be pretty cool. And then bringing that version of the character in, almost like Miles Morales and Hickman's Secret Wars gets brought into 616. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to be much of a plot point at all in Black Panther 3. I think it's something that will be dealt with before the movie, if that makes sense.
I do. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, I was just curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I will just say, dude, you mentioned, I wanted to go back to it because you mentioned how the Black Panther trilogy feels a little bit more serious. I think you're right about that. And I think a lot of it is like, it's Coogler's touch, but it's the fact that these movies are dealing with, like, in a lot of ways, oftentimes a much more mature subject matter than say like like a Guardians movie maybe, or like whatever, like Captain America: Civil War.
Right.
Obviously, there is like the racial conversations that are happening. Chadwick Boseman's death and T'Challa's death is the catalyst of Black Panther 2. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that you're absolutely right about that read.
Yeah. I think that people kind of just hold them differently,
For sure.
and rightfully so. Black Panther 1 is a masterpiece. Wakanda Forever, in my opinion, I think yours as well, not as good, but still good in its own right. And I think that we might be cooking with Black Panther 3. So,
dude, I'm thrilled. And he's shooting it on film. Like,
oh, dude,
Coogler is going to be able to do whatever he wants with this movie. Like, he has the blank check. I am so excited for this. I think who knows what this movie is going to be about post Secret War? So it's not even worth speculating on.
No idea. Yeah,
but Shuri is going to be in this movie, played by Letitia Wright, and Bach
also as a Black Panther.
Exactly. So we're going to have the dual Black Panther thing going on. So I don't know. I have no idea what the story is going to be, but I am so absolutely thrilled that we have David Johnson attached.
And Coogler's Coogling. That's what I got.
He's Coogling.
But I like that, dude. We got to start saying that. But we got to move on to the next reveal here.
Yep.
The next big reveal from Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con is that Ryan Gosling has been cast as Ghost Rider in the MCU and will be hitting theaters sometime in 2028.
Directed by Sean Levy.
Yes, thank you. Directed by Sean Levy.
Don't want to forget that part.
No, you do not. Yeah, guys. Look, this is one of those like fan casts that we've kind of been talking about as a community for a while. If you're into the MCU,
years.
You know that Ryan Gosling has been like fan cast for a while. So this was like a reveal that like almost it didn't feel like super surprising when they said it, or when like you read it on Twitter, but it was just like, okay, like this is happening, this is finally happening. Is more the reaction, not like, oh my God, it was more just, okay, they're doing this, let's go.
Dude. Yeah. I think this is just huge for Marvel stock. Getting
you mentioned
Gosling,
the star power coming in right now. And this, dude, Ryan Gosling is on a run. He's on a run.
And so, yeah, obviously Project Hail Mary earlier this year. This is going to be his next movie after Star Wars Starfighter, which comes out early next year, which also directed by Sean Levy. The writer on Starfighter is also going to be the writer on Ghost Rider.
They brought the
Feige
team over.
said on stage. Exactly. So Feige said that he's seen Starfighter and that it's great. So not so much Feige saying that, but the fact that they are bringing this team over does tell me that they have a lot of confidence and they really like what they have seen from Starfighter. And the doomsayers on the internet, the people who have to find something to poke at, are poking at the fact that it's going to be Sean Levy directing this movie as the corporate slop director. That's what people like to say about him. Dude, he's made a lot of really fun movies. He might not be frickin' Paul Thomas Anderson. He might not be Ryan Coogler, but he has shown that he can reliably get these movies done and have them be good.
Look,
and
if
getting
a
star attached like
watching
to a character
if you can't have fun watching Deadpool and Wolverine, we're probably not gonna be friends. You know what I mean? It's just.
And listen, dude, there are a lot of people who can't have fun watching Deadpool and Wolverine, and probably not the very different taste than us, but there are a lot of people out there who it's not for them. But I think this is going to be very different from that, obviously. And I just this being the next character that Ryan Gosling is taking on is very, very interesting to me, very exciting to me. You have some more Ghost Rider comics background than me. Do you see him as Johnny Blaze, or there's been some speculation that he might be playing Danny Ketch?
Yeah, actually, I was going to bring that up. So dude, the only lore I have outside of Johnny Blaze really is just I read the entire Cosmic Ghost Rider run, and that's a completely
I don't think they're doing that here, right?
No, that's its own thing in of itself.
Yeah.
I don't really have it.
Thanos is involved.
I'm aware of who Danny Ketch is, but I don't have any experience with him as a character. In the Ghost Rider lore, I saw that too, that people are connecting the way that they did the Ghost Rider logo from the run of comics that Danny Ketch was the Ghost Rider in. So it would be interesting to get a different version of Ghost Rider because obviously we got Johnny Blaze from Nicolas Cage, and then we got Robbie Reyes in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, why not do a new one? I'll say this much. I will have to go do my homework, though, and see what Danny Ketch is about because I don't know. The Ghost Rider that I know outside of Johnny Blaze is also Frank Castle. And he rides a space motorcycle. So
Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Maybe. But anyway, dude, yeah, I agree. Big name coming to the MCU. I think that's big for Marvel. Cheers to you, Ryan Gosling. Freaking love that dude. Again, he's just on
the choices he's making, man.
He's on a heater. I think he's going to be excellent in the MCU. Looking forward to him interacting with other characters in the MCU as well. He's so charming. And like you said, just bringing over the team from Starfighter gives me a lot of confidence in that movie too. And, you know, hit or miss on Sean Levy movies, I get it, but hey, I enjoy outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, the first movie that comes to mind for me is Night at the Museum, and I freaking love that movie. Okay? So,
classic. Great movie. Yeah.
I'm about it.
I think that's right. I also, yeah, my last thought for this movie is like, I feel like the script almost, I think it matters a lot less. And like the story and the plot for this movie matter a lot less than they do for just about any other Marvel movie in the last 20 years.
I
think the fact that we have Ryan Gosling playing this character, I think, is going to establish a very high floor.
Yes.
And I'm happy about that.
As am I. Big gap between Secret Wars and the next. I mean, these are both coming out in 2028. That's a big gap between movies, unless there's other projects in there that they're not telling us about. But you know what I mean?
Right. So Doomsday, they've confirmed that there's not going to be anything between Doomsday and Secret Wars at the end of 2027.
Yeah.
But then now, so after Secret Wars in 2027, it seems like they're going to hit us hard with X-Men, Ghost Rider, and Black Panther 3. That seems to be the 3 movies they're putting out in 28.
Big ones. And again, we got to get to the next section here because no X-Men reveal from this Comic-Con, which
real quick, I wouldn't read into it too much. I think it has something to do with the Sadie Sink aspect, and I think it also has to do with the fact that D23 is in like 2 weeks.
I agree.
I think there will be some X-Men news there. If
and
there's
I think
not, then we can talk about it more.
I think we should wait for that. Then I think that's just another example. We do this all the time. We, as a community, set like expectations, and then we decide that is going to happen. And then when it doesn't, we're like, oh, that sucks. I didn't do that. Well, who said it was going to happen? You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's exactly what happened here. But we still got some cool stuff out of this con. The last thing that we got here is the Doomsday panel that occurred.
Yes.
And I want you to start off here because you saw the footage. I didn't get to see the footage.
I was not in Hall H, but I did get to see one of the pirated clips before it got taken down on Twitter. So yeah, they brought out a bunch of the cast, not all of them, but a bunch of the cast, and then they showed a new trailer basically, which heavily featured the dynamic and the interplay between the Fantastic Four and Doom. This new trailer seemingly confirms that that Doom comes from the Fantastic Four's universe, and that they have some kind of background. We have Sue kind of explaining to presumably like the Avengers or, you know, whoever it is in 616 who Doom is and kind of what has happened. And then there is an interaction between Reed Richards and Doom where Reed is talking to Doom and he's like, did you do this, Victor? Did you do this? And so we're getting a heavy focus on the Fantastic Four Doom dynamic, which has been an area of concern for some people, for some comics fans, that is going to be short-sticked here in this movie? Seemingly no. And we also just get some absolutely sick Doom action moments. We get an expansion on the moment between him and Thor, a little bit more of a focus on his powers there. And we also see him resurrect a bunch of dead Sentinels. And that's how the trailer ends. And They should have led with this because this looks really good.
Well, I didn't get to see it, but you did text me today, and you sent a tweet that said we might be getting this before. We might be seeing this trailer before Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
There seems to be confirmation that what I saw is the new Doomsday trailer being played before Spider-Man. I don't know if that is the new trailer that released like last Monday or the Comic-Con one.
Yeah. Well, we will be finding out in approximately 3 days. So
yeah, I want to see it on the big screen. It looks.
Regardless, sounds freaking sweet. The panel was cool. You know, the way that they shot it with like an X-Men stage and an Avengers stage, really cool. It was the RDJ show. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was out there dooming it up for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, really interesting. I liked. There was felt like a big emphasis on like Robert Downey Jr. and Pedro Pascal together, which obviously Reed and Doom. So cool.
There seemed to be a point of emphasis. Yeah,
yeah, playing a little bit. Chris Evans was there. Chris Evans was on stage. Didn't do much.
Didn't say a word. Interesting.
Yep. Still, you know, very mysterious as to what his role is going to be in this movie. Actually, shout out
our Hydra Cap clip on the socials got a lot of engagement. A lot of people on both sides of the issue here.
I want to shout this one out. Shout out Steve Marino on TikTok commenting on that clip. He is convinced that the Cap that we see in the trailer is Loki, and I think that would be sweet. I don't know why Loki would want Mjolnir at this point, but I'm behind you, Steve Marino. I appreciate
the effort of thought there.
Indeed. So yeah, anything in particular stand out to you about the panel? Just outside of like the way that they presented it was cool. The play with the characters, and then again, it's just Downey trying to build up the hype for Doom.
So the only other thing that I would add is that we did have the Ryan Reynolds appearance.
Oh, yes,
in the crowd as a fan asking a question, dressed in disguise as Gene Pool. He was in full Deadpool costume, but denim.
Task Force X denim, kind of looking as well, and, just saying.
Well, also, it was gray. It was denim. He was wearing jeans, jean gray.
No, I understand what's happening.
Ryan Reynolds posted a picture of the color of the costume he was wearing that specifically was jean gray. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff happening there with Deadpool. Cool to see Ryan Reynolds
is not coy.
Subtlety is not one of his most well-known traits, but what it was really cool to see is like at the day after that happened, Reynolds like put something up on socials of like him just like walking around in costume at the con, like taking pictures with people. Nobody obviously knew it was Ryan Reynolds because he's wearing the mask. It seemed like he genuinely had a lot of fun being there in character, and like, you know, Ryan Reynolds, I think at this point is Deadpool in a lot of people's minds, for better and for worse. And so to see him embrace that and like, you know, engage with it in good faith with the fans is better than the alternative, at least.
Is he in the movie?
Well, there was the joke where he was like, "Oh, when does the movie start filming?" Everybody on the stage was like, "I think he's probably in the movie."
I think he's in the movie.
Briefly. I think he's probably briefly in.
Yep. Yeah. I am with you there. I think it would distract if he was in there too much, but I think he pops in. Let's see. Anything else to talk about?
I had one final note, just an interesting tidbit that I picked up from one of the post-panel interviews that Chris Evans did, where he was talking about how, like, obviously, like, coming back as Chris Evans, been ever long since Endgame. What was really interesting was he said, yeah, like, Kevin and Luis Desposito is like one of the other main heads of Marvel Studios, have been pitching me to come back as Steve Rogers since Endgame. Like, he said that they took him out to dinner after Endgame and were pitching him on ideas to come back and do movies as Nomad.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it wasn't right then. But that those pitches have continued over the years. And then that once Downey was back, he was like, okay, it feels right now. Just interesting that it was not Marvel's decision not to continue making Steve Rogers movies. It was, I mean, we knew that Chris Evans wanted to step away. But the fact that since Endgame, like Kevin Feige has been pushing to get him back in a real way, I just thought was really interesting.
It is interesting. And I mean, here's the thing with this type of stuff. I mean, you never really know, right? But it is also like no secret that Chris Evans' career post Endgame hasn't exactly been like the most impressive thing outside of like I think the most notable thing for me has been his role in Glass Onion.
The first Knives Out, but wasn't that before or like right at the same time as Endgame?
No, you're right. It was the first Knives Out. I don't know what time it was though.
It was pre-COVID, yeah. So I think that was that might have even been before. So I don't know if he's
Never
done
mind, take it back then.
Anything since Endgame.
So like, I mean, maybe this is a good way to get him back in the conversation. Again, I think a lot. I'm not saying that there's any like bad faith here at all, but I mean, sometimes you say what you got to say, in front of the mic. So he's not the only person that mentioned Nomad though in Comic-Con. Anthony Mackie actually talked about Steve Rogers.
Made it clear. He's the only Captain America in this movie.
Yeah, he is Captain America, and Steve Rogers does come back as Nomad. So I don't know, man. Maybe he's Nomad in this movie. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Guess we'll find out.
It was one heck of a Comic-Con.
Dude, Marvel dominated. The Marvel excitement is back in a way that it hasn't been in years. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to do like $850 million opening weekend. Doomsday is like...
Then we have, you mentioned we have D23 right around the corner too.
Yeah,
so they're going to be in the conversation.
TV announcements there. Yeah.
They're in the conversation for a while.
The positivity and the excitement it's all just very refreshing to have exciting things to talk about.
And excited we are.
Things.
But we can't talk about more Marvel stuff right now. We have to wait until Thursday to do that. What we have to talk about right now is House of the Dragon. We got to talk about episodes 5 and 6 of House of the Dragon Season 3. Here's what I'm recommending. We're going to truncate this one a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to get right into it. No Batcave recap unless you have something prepared.
I had some guardrails up to guide me through a Batcave recap, but they'll be useful to me otherwise.
Let's get into this. Let's just give out a spoiler warning. Warning right now for House of the Dragon Season 3, episodes 5 and 6, and potentially the book. Again, y'all know we don't know if we're spoiling the book, so if we do, our bad. But let's dive right into this. We're skipping Batcave recap today because we are an hour into this podcast episode already. But we got to talk about House of the Dragon, dude, because a couple good episodes here. I think we're really gonna just spend more time today highlighting some of like the major takeaways from these episodes, and probably an emphasis more on episode 6, because in my opinion, in episode 5, not much happened in episode 5. I know it's been a little bit for you. I watched episode 5 on Saturday night, and then I watched episode 6 today. So I didn't find myself like overly moved by anything in episode 5, but in episode 6 we get like a really, really good episode about really the development of the Hightowers and their like big move towards claiming the throne. And I think that's kind of what this conversation should be geared towards. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, as far as episode 5 goes, it felt very much so like just a deeper turning of all the screws that are, the nails in Rhaenyra's coffin seem to be getting nailed further and further in.
Yeah.
We have, obviously, like we have the ending of the Feast for Traitors with, Daemon's gold cloaks being slaughtered and put on display by Ormond's assassins in the city. So just
that's true. That was very important.
That was pretty crazy. And like seeing just further and further that like Rhaenyra is losing whatever kind of semblance of grip on power that she had. And then obviously what I also really liked in 6 was like the the stuff in the Riverlands with Chris and Cole and Gwaine, and I like their ambush attack. And then I thought the way the episode closed with them just like trudging through the muck, I just thought that was a very affecting Thrones visual moment.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking to myself as I was watching episode 5 and then the beginning of episode 6 that, I mean, these episodes could just be called like the Ballad of Chris and Cole. Because, I mean, this is really, we've already issued the spoiler warning. This is the end of his story.
Yeah. A very unceremonious end.
Indeed. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Chris and Cole death scene. So you mentioned in season or episode 5, we kind of get like his journey with his men to the Riverlands, trudging through the mud, giving kind of like that one last effort for Chris and Cole to fight. I think he...
Well, at that point, it's almost like he knows he's going to die, and all he really cares about is having a glorious death. And that's what he's marching toward in his mind. He phrases
it like, I will like either fight for, I forget how to say it, but it's like, I will fight for the house, or I will die for my house, or like, you know what I'm saying?
It was because Gwaine is like, dude, let's get out of here. Like, come serve my family at House Hightower.
Yes.
And Kristen is like, I've spent my whole life like defining myself by my oaths and by the service of others. Like, I am going to die for myself, like die for my own honor.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. And he does die for himself. You know, the ambush scene that we get where Kristen Cole dies, I thought was, like you said, I mean, it's super unceremonious. Kristen Cole tries to go out one last time. He's, challenges. He said, 2 of you to 1 of me. Like, will that suit? And then as he's trying to taunt these 2, he gets shot with an arrow 3 times, and that's it. Pan in on him holding. Whose favor was he holding?
Oh, dude, that was Alicent's.
Right?
That was Alicent's handkerchief.
Okay, that was Alicent
that she gave him when he left. And yeah, so I thought that was a really cool moment when he wrapped it around his sword. And so they have the ambush moment, which also was very cool. So like they come upon this seeming like the remains of a battlefield with all these dead soldiers lying there, and they're checking everything, and everybody springs up and they start fighting. I thought that was cool. And like it seems like Kristen and his men have this glorious moment where they fight off the ambushers. And Cole has this moment where he like lifts the sword up and he gives a chant. He's like, does the Hightower, we light the way. And you see the rest of the Riverlanders, Oscar Tully, Roddy the Ruin, and all their men close in on them. And you realize that was all in vain and you're going to die. And he tries to salvage the glory of the moment. And they're like, nah, we're not giving you that. No. And everything that Kristen Cole thought he was fighting for, the legacy that he thought he was establishing for himself, gone like that.
Yep, there ends Kristen Cole's story. A lot of strife in this show has been because of Kristen Cole, and he has now exited the chat. But something that continues after his death is the march of the Hightowers and their claim to the throne and trying to be supreme in the realm. We get a look behind the walls of King's Landing in this episode. You mentioned a scene in episode 5 where it's the dinner scene where the King's Guard have been slaughtered. We get a look here in this episode, in episode 6, about how it's Otto Hightower that is puppeteering this movement in King's Landing.
Ormond, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, I said Otto. Ormond Hightower.
He ain't got no head.
Nope, he can't puppet nothing. But yeah, so Ormond is the puppet master here, and he is trying to topple King's Landing from the inside, while also bolstering up the new king, potentially, Daeron Targaryen, under his watch. Along the way, we also get Sir Gwaine back in the mix with the Hightowers, which I thought was a really interesting dynamic with the three of those characters in this episode. That being
some of my favorite stuff in the episode, for sure.
Yeah, Darren, Gwaine, and man, see, now I can't get out of my head. I just want to call him Otto. I almost did it again. And Ormond. How are you taking this, like, Ormond trying to raise Darren to be king in his own, like, to serve himself thing? How is that suiting you for this show right now?
I think Ormond is a fantastic villain. And I mean, my read on it is that Darren is the puppet that he can use to install on the throne. And I really like finally getting this conversations between Darren and Gwaine, his uncle.
Gwaine, yeah.
Who, like, Darren for like the past few episodes has been asking Ormond, like, where's Gwaine? Like, is he coming back? Like, you can tell that he has missed this presence in his life. And you finally get to see Darren kind of drop the facade that he has to have up with Ormond to protect himself and show who, like, he truly is, and like be like, man, like, stop leaving me with this monster. Like, I do not want to be here with him. And like, it was pretty heartbreaking to, like, see on Gwaine's end what I was expecting to, like, be more of like a paternal protective response wasn't really there from Gwaine. He's kind of worried about himself, which we have seen, like, on it, like, to the show's credit, like, going back, like, he wanted to go home and, like, he's like, this fight's over. I'm looking out for myself. And that is, I get, like, that is the flaw of a character like Gwaine. And, like, we see that kind of, like, not like a full wholehearted rejection of Darren there in that moment, but, like, Darren does not get the response that he's hoping for. And where does that then push Darren to go? Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
I agree. I liked the interplay here between Darren and Gwaine, because it's like the first time that we get to see the real Darren. We also get to see, like, the relationship between Gwaine and Ormond a little bit more in this episode, and the scene particularly between the Hightowers and the Baratheons that ended up being assassins. And just, I mean,
that was sick.
Dude, it was sick. And hey, shout out Gwaine, man, because Gwaine came in to save the day there.
That assassination would have worked if Gwaine wasn't there.
Oh, absolutely. Ormond was way too fed up in his own, just like,
dude, he couldn't handle the smell of those guys coming from the road. That it wasn't a stink bomb, but, like, they were coated in feces.
Oh yeah, and dude, Ormond, like, I love how they, like, literally, like, pan in on Ormond to, like, show that he's like, oh, these guys smell bad. Yeah, but yeah, man. So that was cool too, just, like, showing that Gwaine is, like, it makes me, like, wonder, Ormond in this position, like, how did Ormond raised to be? I mean, because obviously Otto now is dead, but I mean, Gwaine is Otto's oldest son, right?
Yes,
I think so. Ormond,
right? Yeah, because I think he does say he has to go back and take a seat in Old Town. Yeah. So Ormond is just, I say just, but he is the leader of the Hightower army. I mean, he's the general, right? That's his role, and I believe him and Gwaine are cousins. Yeah. But yeah, a little bit of incompetence here from Ormond, where Gwaine's shown. I really liked. Oh, I just lost it. Where was I going? The other aspect that I thought was really interesting about the Ormond Gwaine stuff was we knew that Ormond was a bully to Gwaine growing up, but then seeing and hearing the commentary about Gwaine's sexuality in this episode, I thought was just, like, another look into the character of Ormond and, like, what he thinks is proper and right for a man to do, or whatever it might be. But then, like, arguably, Gwaine's sexuality is what saves the day, because he can tell the guy posing as the Baratheon representative he's not quite as hot as the actual Baratheon guy that he was posing to be. And that was part of what tipped him off to the assassination attempt. So
yeah, he was like, wait a minute, something's off here. This guy, not handsome enough.
Yep. Nope. Doesn't have the jawline.
No,
But yeah, I just thought it was cool. I thought the Gwaine, Darren, seeing them on screen together is something that we've been hearing about and kind of thinking about for a while. And I thought that those scenes lived up to the hype.
I agree. Where you want to take it next? You want to take it to King's Landing, or King's Landing, Harrenhal, or the Vale?
Let's go to the Vale next.
Okay.
Take me to the Vale.
We've got Sheepstealer and Bela back.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, she is looking just so decrepit.
Dude, they did her dirty, man.
Yeah. My goodness.
They did her dirty with the hair design, and they did her dirty.
I'm wondering, is this working for you? Are you connected to the Bela Sheepstealer stuff right now?
No, but just because we haven't really seen any of it, like they cut the scene presumably where we're supposed to see Rhaena and Sheepstealer looking for Bela and her dragon. That's like just not in the episode. They refer, like, the conversation between Rhaena and Lady Jane refers to it, but we don't see it happen. And so, no, like I thought the scene that Rhaena and Daemon had a couple episodes back where Daemon finds her, I thought that was a good scene. But mostly for the Daemon side of things. So I honestly don't have too much to say here, except that this is just like another shoe that the show is waiting to drop with the Sheepstealer reveal.
Yeah, it's.
In the meantime, it's just like I don't have quite the same buy-in with those scenes.
No, it's not that it's not working for me. I'm kind of wondering like what purpose it's serving, and I'm starting to come to the conclusion that ultimately it's just going to serve, as you said, like the reveal of, oh, well, Rhaena is Sheepstealer's rider. That's going to obviously have repercussions for Rhaenyra, and then one side will gain a new dragon, assumingly. That's kind of all like I'm getting from it. But she pops in so periodically, and we don't really get too much. So, yeah, again, it's like we're just waiting for the reveal at this point. So it's not. I'm not really feeling too connected to this plot line. Because ultimately, like, if Sheepstealer does end up on either Team Green or Team Black, that's a big bump for either of those teams, because another dragon on their side would be a big win. Not only another dragon, but another big dragon. But there also might be more dragons in play, which we will talk about here in a minute.
Yeah. I don't see Sheepstealer coming into play in like the dragon math of the war anymore at this point, because he's shown to be an unreliable dragon that a rider cannot control. I think it'll more so just be at some point Rhaenyra is going to find out that Rhaena is Sheepstealer's rider.
He's still out there chilling with Rhaena, though.
Screw things up for her more.
Like, why is he letting Rhaena stay around?
But you think Sheepstealer? Well, they have the bond now. Like that is Rhaena is his rider, so
yeah. I'm just saying, maybe they've been doing some work while they've been in the Vale. Maybe they've been running drills.
True. I'm sure that they have a little bit more of a bond now than they did on day one when she took him into war.
Yeah, rough start.
Tough.
King's Landing.
Yeah, let's head over to King's Landing. What do you want to touch on in King's Landing first? Because we have a few things going on here.
I would like to start with a quote.
All right.
Let me find this real quick. There it is. All right. I just want to shout out a quote here from Daemon Targaryen that I found particularly just
concerning.
No, just like very, very representative of who his character is. And the quote is from the scene where they're sitting around the High Council table. They're discussing matters with the Queen, and at that point, Master who's the guy? Who's the new Master of Coin?
Doesn't matter. Master of Coin.
Yeah.
I'll remember in a minute.
He is discussing the dragon math, basically, with the newest edition to the council as well. And Daemon says, "I will hear no more from those whose greatest battle is with their own indigestion." And I found that just to be quite delightful in this episode. Daemon Targaryen is just one sassy, rude guy. And I really like that quote. But what I did notice about King's Landing...
It was Torrin Manderly. It just came back to me. Sorry.
Thank you, Torrin Manderly.
Master of Coin.
Something I noticed about King's Landing, more cats. More cats than we got last time.
Yeah? Well, hey, listen. You got rats, you need cats. That's what Alan said. And now he's getting laid by his niece.
Yeah. It is Game of Thrones. It is
Sorry,
a
jumped ahead there. Sorry, jumped ahead there.
Yeah. No, but yeah, so again, more trouble within the walls. Kingsguard is falling to pieces. If they're not dying, they are resigning. Rhaenyra is
getting nicked by the throne, which
nicked by the throne, which is a omen.
Death sentence for a ruler in Westeros.
Indeed. She is obsessed with finding Vhagar and Aemond, but particularly Vhagar, which she is illuminated to might not be the best idea later in this episode, because also within King's Landing, we have Alicent and Helena, who have tried to escape through a secret tunnel. It didn't work. They get captured, recaptured, and basically Helena or Alicent has to reveal to Rhaenyra that Helena is with child. And Rhaenyra's response to this, I thought, was really interesting. She comes at it from the perspective of, do you think so little of me, Alicent? Like, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to kill a child. And Alicent points out, all the reasons, why she would. And Rhaenyra is like, I don't want to do this. She's trying to provide ways for her not to have to do this. And while this is all happening, you also start to see, the unraveling of Helena. And as she's not eating, she's trying to harm herself. These two are at their wits' end, and Rhaenyra is closing their cage in on them. And I think that we might be heading towards the end of the story for these two characters. What do you think?
Interesting. You think that they're going to die?
I don't think Alicent's going to die. I think Alicent, throughout the entire series, has proven that she's a resilient person.
Let's be clear right now. At the end of this episode, Rhaenyra has sent her to kill Aemond and is holding Helena prisoner, hostage, until Alicent finishes the job.
Correct.
That's where they find themselves.
Correct. I think Helena... I don't think... You know what? No, I think they both die. I do. I think Alicent is not going to be able to kill her son, and I think Helena is going to take her own life.
Oof. I hadn't really considered the possibilities. I do think that there is a chance that Alicent does not return from Harrenhal. I think that I would be shocked to see them go that route with Helena. I think that would be obviously super dark. I think that she has more of a role to play in the story. I do think that we might have seen the last conversation between Helena and Alicent. Things did not end on a good note between them. Helena is obviously heartbroken and furious that Alicent tried to trick her into abandoning her daughter and escaping the castle without her. And she brings it all the way back to Alicent marrying Helena off to Aegon instead of allowing Helena to leave King's Landing and live a life outside of out from under her mother. And Alicent is forced to reckon with that self-interest in a very intense way in that conversation with Helena, where she cannot deny these truths that it wasn't my choice, but I didn't fight against it. And probably part of it was because I wanted to keep you close, probably partially for selfish reasons. And so, I just thought that was a really kind of heartbreaking end to that mother-daughter relationship that Alicent fought so hard to save. I I had not considered the possibility of Helena taking her own life, even though she does, like, we do see her self-harming in this episode.
You mention Alicent going to Harrenhal to, under the orders of Rhaenyra, kill her son. Do you think that she is going to be able to see this through? I mean, do you? I don't think that this is going to be Aemon's end at the hand of his mother. I do not think that.
No, I don't think it will be because Alicent can't do it. I think it'll be because Alice has already turned Aemond. And now when Alicent comes and presents herself to Aemond, he's not going to want her anymore because he has a new mommy. Let's talk about Harrenhal.
That's very true. That's very true. I had not thought about it in that way. You're right. Aemond has a new mommy. And
let's talk about Harrenhal.
Yeah, let's talk about Harrenhal.
So Alice she's been playing this long game with Aemond. Now seemingly it's revealed in this attempt to convince him to become her dragon lord, basically.
Yeah, she's seducing him quite well.
Sitting on this clutch of she's been sitting on this clutch of dragon eggs, and she makes this proposal to Aemond of, she relates to him on a very, like, real personal level of, you've been alone your whole life. I know what that's like. Like, have you ever considered the possibility that you don't have to do it that way? And so she is appealing to Aemond in, like, these very human ways, but also I thought it was really cool, like, relating it back to, like, the very mystical, magical dragon aspect of everything. And, trying to convince Aemond that Vhagar has left to protect him. I thought that was just like
she played him on that one. Again,
I thought that was another great touch.
Question, where the heck is Vhagar? Hard to lose a dragon that big. It just is. But
seems like a job that requires some dark magic.
It does. It does indeed.
Alice.
We see 5 dragon eggs here. Are 3 of these eggs the eggs that we see Daenerys get?
No, but I think they're probably from the same layer. I think Helena's dragon, Dreamfire, is, like, known to fly around and lay eggs all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think they say that these are Dreamfire's eggs.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be the same eggs that Daenerys ends up inheriting, but siblings? Probably.
I like that.
I think Aemon's probably going to do everything he can to hatch all those eggs.
I don't think we're going to see these eggs hatched.
You don't think so? Well, actually, no. We obviously know that the show ends and there are no more dragons.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like...
But does that mean that they...
Well, that's not true. It's not that there's no more dragons. It's that the dragons start to, like, dwindle. You know what I mean? Like, they between...
I guess I don't know the specifics, honestly. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure from what we learned, it was, like, between this show and Game of Thrones, like, dragons start to dwindle down to, like, the size of, like, house cats.
I'm pretty sure there are no dragons. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, dragons basically become extinct.
Where am I getting this from?
We'll have to fact check ourselves on this, but I'm pretty sure that's, like, a pretty, like, big takeaway from the end of this story, is that, like, House Targaryen has ate itself from the inside and the dragons are no more. But
all right, I got to figure out where I'm getting house cat dragons from, because I'm getting that from somewhere. I don't know where it is, but yeah. So I don't know a ton about the book, but I do know that Alice and Aemond get together in the book, and I believe bear children.
News to me.
Sorry.
That's okay. I figured it was probably coming. They're definitely trying.
But I don't know what that means at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, does this, like, dream that Alice is putting into Aemon's head come to fruition? Like, do they end up, like, raising up together as, Lady of the Water and the Dragon Lord? Do they have, like, a claim to power for a little bit? I I don't know. I mean, again, seemingly not, because we know that the ending of the story is the end of the Targaryens as we know them, and perhaps either no more dragons or house cat dragons. We haven't decided on that yet. But is this now like a new faction? These dragons can't be hatched, because even if they are, they're baby dragon. I mean, maybe they can be hatched, but they're not going to be able to play on the board.
Right. Yeah.
Because
they're not going to be. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, but what I know is that I'm really into watching Alicent manipulate the heck out of Aemond for the remainder of this season.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Aemond does to try to hatch these eggs. Even if he doesn't get them to hatch, or they don't come out, like they hatch and then they die too young, whatever. I think that Aemond is going to be willing to go to some crazy places just to hatch the eggs. So
you think we'll get
interested to see what those decisions are.
You think we'll get a scene next episode of Aemond just completely nude, just like sitting on the eggs? Just.
One can only hope.
I am the Dragon Lord. I am the Dragon Lord.
Let's see. What else we got? Let's end with that Corlys scene. The only other characters that we have not talked about yet are we get the very quick scene with Aegon, Larys, and Tyland in the forest trying to figure out their next move. Tyland wants to go back to Casterly Rock, but he can't tell Aegon that he's a good guy with a straight face. So they're following Aegon's plan. Not much to add to that scene, except very enjoyable every time they're on screen together. It's a fun group they got going there.
That it is.
Tyland like digging the hole and like being like, I'm not digging any further. Larys, if you want to dig it, go ahead. And then they kick him in, and it's like a 1 foot deep hole that they've dug for the guy they killed. Not great. Dragon seeds. As I was watching this episode, Maddie and I watched together, and I like looked at her. I was like, they have been laying the foundation for Ulf's betrayal since he got like the very beginning of the season, since he got this dragon.
Yeah.
It seems to me, my theory is that they've set it up so much that I think he still will defect, but I think we're first going to see and we kind of already have seen it, but we're going to see a really significant screw up or betrayal from Hugh. And like I said, we do see that here with his decision to go into the city, try to pull his wife out.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, we see that she is not willing to go with him. This scene kind of ends slightly ambiguously, but it seems like the commotion that they're causing has drawn the attention of some high tower guards. And it seems to me like Hugh is getting himself in some trouble here.
Yeah, no, I think that we will find out next episode that he did not get out of this scot-free. And perhaps the way that he saves himself is by offering his services to the other side. I mean, he is there, his dragon is there. He might have to beg for his life and, declare loyalty to House Green. I agree. I think that we've fell short a touch with the Dragon Riders. We have not gotten really much from Adam in this season. Yeah. As you said, have gotten like this trail of breadcrumbs to follow for Ulf betraying, which I think we kind of saw the final straw here in this episode with his run-in with Daemon in the city in King's Landing. And then ultimately too, like it seems maybe the beginning of the betrayal of Hugh as well. It's not that I don't care. I just wish I cared a little bit more about their betrayal.
I just think it's tough because like it seems like at almost every opportunity that Rhaenyra and Daemon have to like extend an olive branch to the dragon seeds, they're instead just like spitting in their faces. Yeah. And it's just like at this point the dragon seeds have just become this vehicle to show how unsuited and unprepared Daemon and Rhaenyra are to lead.
Yeah, no, that's
and
really,
I think I do still like getting a lot of like getting a lot of fun like comedic beats still with Ulf. And then let me ask you, so the episode like Daemon catches Ulf sneaking into the city, embarrasses him in the middle of the town square, kicks him, And then towards the end of the episode, we get like, what was it that was delivered to Rhaenyra? Was it a cloak? And it said like, if you kick him like a dog or something like that, then
if you kick this dog,
they'll
it will
run
bite.
away. If you kick this dog, it will bite. Did you interpret that as being Ulf's or what did you think that was?
So I thought about that too.
Because that could have easily been the last straw.
Was it
for
not
Ulf.
the like the armor of the Baratheon assassins?
I'll have to go back and look, but if that was the case, that message, I wouldn't understand that message then.
So,
I guess.
I mean,
I don't know.
If
you kick a dog, like that's your pet, you're disrespecting, you're not treating your pet with respect. That strikes me as like, saying, stop treating me like a dog.
You're interpreting that though as a dog has to be a pet, and that's not true.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like I think that the sentimentality behind that would just be like, you know, like I think the idea is like, you know, it's like almost like poke the bear, you know, mess with the bull, you get the horns. I think it was kind of like an idiom.
In the eye.
Indeed. I saw it as the Baratheon's armor, which, I mean, did Rhaenyra send the assassins?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah, she did.
Like, I was interpreting it as a message
as
from
like
the High
Ormond
Towers.
taunting, being like,
don't
try
like,
us.
That's how I saw it. But again, I could be way off on that. I don't know.
I have to go back and rewatch that scene, maybe.
It looked yellow to me, so that's why I thought that.
True. I think we kind of hit on everything here. Did you have any other thoughts that you wanted to hit on here with this episode? Oh, I will just say, going back to Daemon and Rhaenyra, we didn't talk about them too much in this episode. The argument that they have in the small council in the beginning of the episode, one, like, stop fighting in front of your subjects.
Yep.
Two, Daemon, like, reveals to the entire small council that there is some kind of prophecy that has, like, ordained Rhaenyra as the rightful ruler.
Mm-hmm.
This prophecy that he's talking about is the Song of Ice and Fire that Viserys passed down that was supposed to be a secret.
Yeah.
But now we've just told Torrhen Manderly, we've told everybody on the small council now knows about this prophecy. And so it's just like, again, Daemon having like little to no situational awareness when it comes to things like diplomacy and just like people skills in general. The guy does not care.
Yeah, that was interesting because like it didn't really seem like they didn't spend too much time dwelling on that fact that he did just
That's
like
true.
tell the Song of Ice and Fire. Like they didn't shoot it in a way that made it seem like anybody reacted or cared or really understood what was going on. But I mean, he did just put it out there.
Yeah.
So
you know they're clocking it. You know that the people in that room, Massaria is clocking it. You know the
Good
Frey
episode for
that's now
Massaria.
sitting. She got that stuff on.
Dude,
She got that fit on.
Listen, she does, and she is taking her job as Master of Whispers seriously. She whispered.
Indeed. She is on the come up.
Anything else here? Talk Corlys.
We have to talk about the final scene. Let's close there.
Yeah.
With Corlys having like made the decision to return to King's Landing. He's like satisfied with having rooted out the Triarchy remnants, and he's going to head back. But before he can do that, he and his men are ambushed by bold John Roxton, who is Ormond's right-hand man, and Brasso from Andor. They ambush, kill his men, and have seemingly taken Corlys hostage, at the very least, at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So, just another nail in Rhaenyra's coffin. The hand of the queen who just decided to leave is now being held captive at the very least.
Just another example of, dude, the High Towers are on the offensive. They are making moves.
Yeah.
I mean, they are
Yep.
done, pun intended, done sitting in their tower. They are making moves. They are coming for that throne. Ormond has a plan. He's enacting that plan, and I don't think he's planning on stopping anytime soon.
And dude, say what you will about Christian Cole and his unceremonious death. He did hold off the Winter Wolves and the Riverlanders like another 2 weeks. So that's another 2 weeks that Rhaenyra and Team Black is without an army. So yeah, I mean, Ormond now holding Corlys hostage. How is he going to leverage that next week? I don't know.
Man, Rhaenyra's not going to care at all. She's not.
You don't think so?
Nope.
That would be an interesting decision on her part. I think she has to. I think she needs Corlys, dude. Corlys is like the only advisor. Like even though he has been like real salty with her, he is the only advisor with like any real history and experience
of war.
In not necessarily war, because Daemon is a war fighter.
That's true.
But like leadership, really.
That's true. That's true. Of effective leadership.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I don't know. I also feel like maybe more so she would act out of fear of repercussion and betrayal from Corlys because she refused to grant his children legitimacy. So maybe she would act thinking that, oh, well, Corlys, has nothing left to serve me for. So, well, I mean,
rescuing him from being held hostage is one way to get back in his good graces. But
yeah, I mean, it helps. It helps.
But I also like Rhaenyra, her decision-making process has been shown to at least lead to flawed results.
That is true.
So
that is true.
I don't know how she's going to respond to this news.
Yeah. What do we got? 2 episodes left?
2 episodes this season and another 8 next season. So coming down to it. And I think that is the cue that we are coming down to the end of this episode here. So I'll go ahead and close us out. For anybody here with us at we're around the hour 40 or so. Anybody who's still here with us, we appreciate y'all. Come back. We will be back in a matter of days talking Spider-Man Brand New Freaking Day. We are, as we sit here, Tuesday, 3 days out from seeing this movie, less at this point.
It's Monday in 3 days time we will have seen this movie.
Thrilling. In the meantime, hit us up on the socials. Let us know what you guys thought about Comic-Con. What news are you most excited about? And when are you seeing Spider-Man? Let us know.
Guys, I not only have my tickets for this Thursday, I already have my tickets for my second showing. So
I got to get on your level.
Dude, I am seeing it again on Sunday in 4DX. I'm kind of excited.
They better get the seats web swinging.
Oh, dude, if I'm not sticky by the end of that movie, I'm demanding a refund.
You don't need to see the movie in 4DX for that.
And on that note, we're ending the episode. So, guys, come back later this week for Spider-Man Brand New Day. And until then, from our Batcaves to yours, thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you next time.
See you.